Is this thing on?
Are you ready, Matt?
You're listening to Box Office Bingers
with Matt Diaz and Ernesto Santos.
Good evening, folks. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Box Office Bingers.
And the only way that I know how to do it is to find you a bloody good devil.
He's my friend. I don't have friends. I got family.
I can do this all day.
You know, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Matt, we are back for another episode of Box Office Bingers, and we have a very special guest joining us for, I think, it's going to be an award-winning film. We could be talking Oscars next year.
Absolutely. I think it has the contention to be number one in everything.
I know, right? I'm so glad we caught it opening weekend.
I'm just mad we missed it in Dolby.
Yeah, that's right.
Made me very sad.
if it was even available.
It was. We almost saw it. We
was.
almost saw it in
We
Dolby.
tried.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Let's start off with the good news, shall we? David Donnell is back. Donnell? No, I said that wrong.
No, you got it the second time, though.
You stumbled. You stumbled,
but you picked it back up. And we weren't going to call you out on it, but you did for yourself.
I said, well, that's why I addressed it earlier. Like, nope, that wasn't right. As soon as I said it.
Those words aren't right.
David's back on the show. Thank you very much, David, for coming back. It's always a pleasure to have you on. Last time we had you on was for Blue Beetle, and now we're keeping up the trend. And this week, we are talking about
The best.
A movie that came out over the Valentine's Day / President's Day weekend, called Madam Web.
Best movie I ever saw.
I mean,
I don't know.
Right. I mean,
I can't wait.
I
can't wait to really dive into all the fantastic writing that this movie provided. There's just
The emotional depth by these these actresses and actors.
That was good. I like that.
You know, they really reached for it.
I think I had more. I'm going to exude more emotional depth later in this episode than what I received in the performances from these individuals right here. Yes, we're talking about Madam Web, the film. The film is Madam Web. The stars are Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Isabel Merced, Celeste O'Connor, Tahar Rahim, and surprisingly, Adam Scott and Emma Roberts, which, if you no idea, they were in this movie. And I'm looking up IMDb right now. Do you know who Adam Scott's playing?
Uncle
Ben Parker.
I did not know that. Yeah,
it took me a while to figure that out. Like, honestly, until like the very end of the movie, I'm like, wait, Ben? Like Uncle Ben?
I don't.
I just read that. I did not know that. That makes me even more.
It doesn't make you love it more?
There's so much to appreciate for what Sony is willing to do to hold on to that Spider-Man IP, even if they have to make a bunch of shitty movies just because. We're gonna talk about it when we review Madam Web. There's a lot to discuss. It's very clear that Sony literally doesn't care anything about comics or Spider-Man.
When it comes to the movies, because they're video games.
They're willing to do whatever it takes to hold on to that Spider-Man IP. You know, I guess it's not always going to be winner. Not every movie is going to be Spider-Verse. So,
but look, let me say this though. To your point, this is a very clear indication that Sony has no idea what they're doing.
None.
That this is pretty evident, and the filmmakers behind this movie, not blaming them, they were just given a hand. But let's name them, shall we? For prosperity, we do it for every episode. S.J. Clarkson. This was her feature film debut. This is her first time directing a film. She's mainly in TV. She's mainly been directing TV episodes, but never really latched on to one in particular. So, because she's all the shows I've listing, it's 1 to 3 episodes she's done. So she's directed episodes for House, Heroes, Dexter, Bates Motel, Orange is the New Black, Jessica Jones, The Defenders, Succession, and she was the creator behind a show I've never heard of called Mistresses. That is probably the through line of her career right there. I think it's like 3 seasons worth and all that stuff. So other than that, she's been sprinkled around a lot of different popular shows throughout the years. So she wrote and directed this movie. Excuse me. It was also written by Matt. What was the name again? Sazama, thank you, and Burke Sharpless. Now, this duo, we've actually named them before in a movie we had reviewed last year. I'm going to name off the movies, and you guess which one we reviewed last year. Dracula Untold, The Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, the 2017 movie of the Power Rangers. They also were the creators of Lost in Space, and they also were responsible for Morbius. How anyone got a job, another award-winning film. How they got a job after Morbius is beyond me. But that's a conversation for another day. The film was also written by Claire Parker, who was a first-time writer, and Kareem Sanga, who is an indie filmmaker. 2 movies he's directed and written before, which I've also never heard of. And so right now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands in the kitchen, cooks in the kitchen here, writing this movie. I think it can attribute to a lot of the problems that we're going to experience. And Ernesto, after I finish watching the movie, I don't typically do this, as you know, Ernesto. I texted you immediately after I finished watching this movie. And I said, you are going to get a different Matt in this podcast for this week's episode.
Oh.
And that will be revealed later on. But I will say that when we go into our spoiler review of Madam Web,
no holds barred.
It's not going to be a review for me. It's going to be a rant. Just keep that in mind as we go along. The other thing,
is this your Batman?
In your case, maybe. I know you weren't. I know you weren't a fan of the Batman. But I will say I'm gonna go off on this movie.
I'm here for it.
I know it's just we might have a good time. Regardless, we're gonna have a good show.
Absolutely.
That's a given. We always have a good show each and every week, and this one in particular, wow. Or as Dakota Johnson says, wowee. From that comicbook.com video that she did when she was first given the original comic book
appearance of Madam Web.
The first appearance of Madam Web, and the person who was interviewing her, he seemed pretty excited about handing this to her, and she could care less.
Yeah, he's like, I went and found this. He's like, I just found it. It was like first print, first. I happened to look through this one. Wow, yeah, great. It's like, here you go. I don't care. Like, it's. I mean, there's so many videos about how weird she's been during the press tour. It's just not been good.
How weird she's been just in the press tour. Did you not see her acting?
Well, we're gonna.
My gosh, it was the same.
That later.
Yeah. So anyway, but before we dive into all of that mess, we are going to be talking about a little bit of entertainment news. Let's talk about the good side of Marvel first. And happy Valentine's Day, everyone. That's what Marvel said. After long speculation and anticipation, Marvel Studios has officially announced the cast of Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four. This piece of news we've been waiting for quite some time. And I know, Ernesto, you texted me after this announcement. You're like, that's a weird Valentine's Day.
What a weird way to drop that information.
I don't know.
I like that it's different.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's the first Marvel family, so love. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Love. There you go. So this has been long speculated for quite some time, and we were kind of avoiding the rumors, but now it's official. We're going to talk about it. So Pedro Pascal will be our Mr. Fantastic / Reed Richards. Vanessa Kirby will play Invisible Woman / Sue Storm. Ebon Moss-Barack will play Ben Grimm / The Thing. He is Cuz from The Bear. He had that great episode Forks.
Yeah, he's a fantastic. He's a great actor. I'm excited.
Great actor.
That's a really. Out of all of them, I'm really excited for him and the Human Torch casting.
Yes, and Human Torch / Johnny Storm is being played by Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie Munson in season 4 of Stranger Things, who was a standout.
Right. Okay.
in that show.
I didn't recognize him because the cast picture has him with his haircut. I'm like, who is that?
Yeah, I didn't recognize him until my girlfriend told me.
Before I dive into the rest of what the poster reveals, what do you think about this initial casting of our first family, the Fantastic Four? David, I'll ask that question to you.
Okay, so the only other person I know besides Pedro Pascal is the dude that plays Human Torch. Mm-hmm. But okay, so I'm usually on Pedro Pascal's like Peruvian or Chileno nuts. You know what I'm saying? I love him and everything he does. But I think me and Ernesto were talking about this earlier. I think he's just a little too old at the present moment. Because like, he's 50 something right now, right? 51, 52, I think, in real life.
Is he really?
Or 49. Like he's, I mean, unless they just made him really old for Joel Osteen. Joel from...
he's 48.
48. Okay, so let's just say in 10 years, he's already going to be 58. Let's just round it up to 60. So you know what I'm saying? I think like they should get someone with a little bit more longevity.
I mean, they can they can DH him. My issue is that like I guess I was just hoping for more of an unknown, like Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and
Ebon Moss
Barak,
I believe.
Barak. Yeah.
Barak. Yeah.
Like they're more or less at least not as big as Pedro Pascal, but I think I think they want like maybe they're looking at him like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, like because I saw our IGN release some article too that they want Pedro Pascal to be like the next Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. Like they want him to help save.
Because Cumberbatch couldn't do it.
But where I agree with David is that like they have an older they're gonna give us an older Reed Richards, but they're not even introducing their kids unless they're there and they're just not showing them on their
maybe by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
With like multiverses and time jumps.
I guess that's true. That's true. Because like we're not
still, like I feel you.
Like we don't even have the Future Foundation, and like there's like so much of their lore that they haven't even explored, and we are already giving us an older Reed Richard. Unless the point is to get him there, and then hey, here's my kids, and then he dies. Like
yeah, I feel like that with this casting, and obviously the big news is Pedro Pascal in Marvel. And you know, if you think of it as nerddom, he's been in DC. He was in Wonder Woman 1984. He was in The Last of Us. He was in The Mandalorian for Star Wars.
Game
of
Thrones.
He's tackling Game of Thrones as well in his brief performance there. And now he's in the Marvel family. He's the safe bet. And I think after casting 3 fairly unknown actors who's had like a standout role in something. Pedro was the one that's like, if anything else, people will come to see Pedro Pascal. That's why I'm not too much of, maybe he's not the choice I would have went with, but I'm not mad at it either. I think he can probably complement the rest of the cast very well. It really depends on how they use it. But I actually love this casting. It's funny because Chris Nielsen, he texted me after this news, and he was like, so he basically said that, so Marvel looked at the best shows on TV right now and handpicked their favorites on which ones they want, which is kind of funny because, like, obviously Pedro Pascal from all the shows we just listed. Vanessa Kirby is from The Crown, and she's been many episodes of that. And so then you have Joseph Quinn, who was in The Stranger Things, and then Ebon Moss, Bob Barak, who did The Bear. And those 4 shows are at least either Emmy nominated or Emmy winning shows at this point. And so yeah, it's like we're gonna that one's popular, that one, I like you and you and you, and there it is. We got
one of the best things about our favorite shows, guys. These characters, let's hire them.
But also it's a safe bet because look how, for the most part, we're not negative about this casting. I think it's a great casting. It does look like they're going a little bit older with it, but at the same time, we are playing with the multiverse. Looks like, based off the font of the logo, it looks like it's being based in the 60s right now. A lot of eagle-eyed fans actually took an examination of the magazine that The Thing is reading, and it was clocked at in 1963. They were able to pinpoint the Times article cover, and it was from 1963. So there's a clue there when this time period could take place. We don't know how this is going to even match into maybe the quantum realm, or like, is this movie going to be based in the 60s and then all of a sudden they just disappeared and all their history is gone? Is this even going to take place in a different multiverse and all of a sudden they just pop into the one we know from the MCU? There's a lot of history here to play with, and I think at the very least we have a good, like, I like the old school costumes. I like that we're going back. This movie already feels different from a normal Marvel movie, and that already has me excited for it.
I'll give you that. I mean, even the font. The font is like that 1960s retro font.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So my guess is it's probably going to involve them getting stuck in the quantum realm, and then they time jump, and maybe it'll have a link from Quantum Mania that maybe they released them. Whatever happened in there was able to release them wherever they were, and now they're on their way back. I mean, I'm here for it regardless.
Yeah.
I guess I just wanted something different besides Pedro Pascal. But you know what? Maybe he'll. I'm sure he's going to do a fantastic job. Like that. There's no doubt about that.
What I'm hopeful for is that, like, back in the day when we were first getting our Marvel movies from the MCU, it's like every Marvel movie was connected but self like contained.
Yeah.
But like every movie felt like a different movie than the next one coming. So like Captain America's felt more spy, more adventure. Iron Man was more future tech savvy. Guardians of the Galaxy was in space, so on and so forth. And like they were different but self-contained, and I'm hoping that they do that. It's looking like they're doing that with this Fantastic Four. Like it's gonna be like its own movie that takes place in this universe, and it will connect eventually. But
that's what I hope.
Yeah, and I do feel I feel like Marvel's smart enough that they're really putting a lot of attention into this movie. I feel like Kevin Feige's like, this one we cannot screw this up, guys. Like, we've had bad Fantastic Four movies in the past. He's trying to change that. I feel like that's why they waited so long to make the official announcement, I believe. I think they're being very careful with this particular one, and they have to get it right the first time, because if they don't, this sets the precedent for the rest of the MCU as well as these characters. And so far, I feel like they're very particular with the casting as well, and I think it all works out great. Other things noteworthy on this poster is that the robot Herbie can be seen in the poster art, and we can assume that he's going to be part of the film. That has not been featured in any of the movies, so that's already an exciting element to it. I don't know much about this character, but I do know that he is part of the Fantastic Four family, so I'm excited to see that. Marvel did not, however, announce who will be playing the villain, and if the villain will in fact be Victor Von Doom. We don't know that, but it's also noted that they didn't announce a villain, which is okay. We don't think we need to know that right now.
I mean, there's, even with that, before this, there's been a lot of speculation and breakdown of the Deadpool trailer, where I guess if somebody in like a green cloak with a metal mask, on one of it could be like a Wasteland Doctor Doom. And maybe we kind of talked about it. It could have been a variant, and plus the Secret Wars comic that's in the shot of the trailer that that showcases Doctor Doom. So it's just
right.
There's a lot of things leading that it could be like, maybe Deadpool will lead to Fantastic Four, because maybe we'll get the reveal of Doctor Doom in Deadpool.
Sure. And I think it's also, I mean, these are also rumors that most likely Silver Surfer and Doctor Doom are going to be in this movie. But that's again speculation. But I think the next big casting announcement around here is who's going to play Doctor Doom, if he's going to be in this movie. I saw one circling that I saw two circling around, and one I'm more excited for than the other. Some people are saying that Marvel's looking at Javier Bardem as Doctor Doom, and then other people are saying, and maybe this is fan casting, I'm not sure, but Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom. And
that would be a good casting.
I would be more excited for Cillian Murphy than Javier Bardem. That's just me personally. But again, those are all speculations. Also worth noting, the Fantastic Four will now arrive in theaters July 25th, 2025, switching release dates with the Thunderbolts, which will now hit theaters May 2nd, 2025. So Fantastic Four got pushed back about 2 months or so, and then Thunderbolts got bumped up by 2 months. So
battling it out with DC
I'm okay.
for the
Yes.
That's clearly a power move. Like they're betting on that this is gonna be able to rival whatever James Gunn is gonna build. The next
It won't.
That's their way of saying the next phase will be is gonna go toe to toe with James Gunn's new DCEU. I mean, it's like, isn't it like the same weekend?
No. It's not the same weekend. It's so Superman Legacy comes in the theaters July 11th, 2025, and then Fantastic Four is 2 weeks later on July 25th. I 100% agree with you. This is a power move. Whether they needed more time for this movie or not, that is a power move for Marvel going against DC, because basically, like, DC will give you 2 weeks, but you're not going to make all the money. You're not going to dominate because we're gonna take some of that away from you in 2 weeks later. But we'll give you your space, but also we're gonna be close. We're gonna be close by on
Absolutely.
that.
I think DC's gonna wipe the floor with Marvel because of the way Marvel's been heading. If Marvel doesn't fix up by next year, James Gunn, think about name a bad James Gunn comic book movie.
But that's saying,
he's running the whole universe.
That's saying.
So
that's saying about Deadpool not being good. Like if Deadpool's not good, that'll really set the stage. Deadpool's really gonna like. If Deadpool's amazing, then it's gonna say, well, if we could be getting the same thing we get from Deadpool in that same level of work in Fantastic Four, then we could be. It's at least comparable.
I feel you. And while I concur with you with Deadpool's going to be fire, but Deadpool's also Ryan Reynolds, his baby, coming from the Fox universe. That's
he's coming into MCU.
I understand that, but he's also Ryan Reynolds has influenced so much that we are actually getting a rated R MCU movie now. Like that's how much influence Ryan Reynolds has into the MCU. So
good point.
Thank you. So what I'm saying is, besides Ryan Reynolds and hopefully this Fantastic Four, if Marvel don't ship shape, people are already off board, like with Marvel. Everything that's come out has been like subpar or like okay. Like the last good movies were like Spider-Man, and some people have their take on it, but I think Black Panther 2, for what they were given with the lead actor dying and the story route they had to go, and their introduction to Namor, I thought that was actually dope.
Yeah, Black Panther was the only good thing, but especially with all that press they had last year, and with them even changing all these release dates and Deadpool being the only main project to come out this year, they're already in course correction mode. So if Deadpool's great, then we're going to see, all right, so we know we're heading in the right direction. And, I think we'll see more of them this phase. I have faith that this phase will at least be enjoyable. Will it be as good as what James Gunn is going to do? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, and it's interesting because technically we're still in this whatever phase that we're in right now. It started with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and so far, I guess this will be phase 5. Started in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, so that is that movie and Guardians 3 and the Marvels and all the TV shows in between that. And so technically, the Deadpool and Wolverine now would still be part of phase 6 or 5. We don't know when they're starting phase 6 at this point. Really, the phases don't really matter at this point because it doesn't feel like we're going up toward anything. But David does make a good point about Ryan Reynolds' involvement.
Oh, I agree.
It does feel like a Deadpool movie rather than a MCU movie at the moment because of the look and the feel from the trailer. But we do have Deadpool and Wolverine coming out this summer. But we still have 2 more movies to come out before the Fantastic Four, which is Captain America: Brave New World, and we have the Thunderbolts. So Brave New World comes out in February, and Thunderbolts comes out in May, and then we have Fantastic Four in July, and presumably Blade will be in November. So if all those release dates line up to how it is today. So technically there's 3 more Marvel movies to come out before the Fantastic Four. So even if we're all geared up and ready to go for Deadpool, they still have to make sure that they have Captain America right and Thunderbolts right in order to continue this excitement for Marvel leading into Fantastic Four.
Plus their TV shows.
And plus their TV shows, which right now it looks like to be Agatha, whatever the show is called, the Agatha show, because I feel like they change the name every 3 days, and Deadpool. I'm sorry, Daredevil, Born Again. That might got pushed back to 2025 at this point. But right now it's still slated for sometime in 24. But they have a lot of work, and hopefully their restructuring will see that go into it as this movie is nearing coming out. And then also continuing Marvel's big week, they also dropped the first trailer for X-Men 97, the animated series, which they're bringing out new episodes for. That's coming out on March 20th on Disney Plus. And it was so funny that I had read, and I read it like it was like a post. It was like a comment on social media that I read, but thought it was funny that like a lot of people were like, basically the post was suggesting that a lot of people were just shitting on Marvel, and then Marvel's like, we gotta get them back, guys. What we're gonna do? All right, we're gonna put out the Deadpool trailer. We're gonna give them the casting of Fantastic Four. We're gonna give them more X-Men, and then all of a sudden, like we're gonna do all this stuff to get everyone back in their good graces. And so far, Marvel's this whole week. This like Nick Fury had his big week. This is Marvel's big week of being like, guys, don't lose hope just yet. We got so many good things down the pipe. Just keep
going.
Don't lose faith.
Don't leave us just yet.
You're right. But yeah, this is some great news. A lot to go off of. Another power move from Marvel. I'm excited for this. Obviously, it's going to be a good year away before we see a trailer. I would not be surprised if the first trailer for this will be at next year's Super Bowl. This seems, because if Deadpool's coming out in July of this year and we got a first trailer in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't put it past me to see this.
When does this come out again? The Fantastic Four?
July 25th.
July 25th.
Of next year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of next year,
But
yeah.
let's see, what big movie comes out this Christmas that they could release a trailer for? Because that gives them about 6 months.
Maybe not Christmas, but probably like Wicked and Moana 2. That's Thanksgiving that they can go off of. As far as Christmas is concerned, let's take a quick look here. I'm about to go on IMDb, me that a little go all the way down here. Let's see, December. Here we go. Went too far.
Hey, real quick, when you guys always ask, like, why are they doing the live-action Moana so close to the Moana 2? And my opinion is that Dwayne Johnson is aging, and they got to do him in live action as soon as possible.
I like that. That gives at least some sort of reason.
Yeah,
I
think that's why. Because like because I remember him announcing it like a year or two ago that they were going to do a live-action Moana, but dude's getting damn near 60 or whatever. Like, he's in his 50s for sure.
I mean,
like,
he's in great
no one
shape.
beats Father Time, you know.
He's a big shape. So to go off of your question, Ernesto, on December 13th, as of right now, as of this recording, the new Karate Kid movie is coming out on December 13th, and then Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is December 20th, and then probably where Disney might insert this is Mufasa the Lion King, the prequel. Yeah, it's the prequel to the Lion King, the live action version. And so those are your 3 big Christmas movies to go check out. So they could insert it there if they wanted.
If it's not there, then the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think they're gonna pay really close attention to every detail they put into this movie. This is probably if not outside of Deadpool, I should say, this is like Marvel has to get this right.
Yeah.
Like this, all eyes are going to be on this, whether you're a Marvel fan or not, because at the very least, most people know what the Fantastic Four is. And then now, from here, they have one more big play, is that whenever they make their X-Men movie, like that's going to be they might address it in Deadpool and Wolverine, how they move forward in the MCU, but we see that Marvel's also taking their sweet time with X-Men stuff.
Yeah. Don't rush it. Please don't rush it.
And it seems like they're using Deadpool to do the same thing they did to Spider-Man, where this is gonna be the knot that ties in, that connects all the previous X-Men Marvel movies to the MCU. Like, you want background knowledge? Here, all these movies are a part of this universe, and Deadpool is the bridge that we walk over.
But I feel like they already made that a slight connection to the X-Men universe in WandaVision with Quicksilver.
Yes and no, because it was
I feel like that was more of
like a red herring, like gotcha, bitch.
Yes,
but it was like
exactly
multiverse. It felt like a multiversal.
I feel like in that sense, they were kind of playing with the audience, like they were playing with the audience in Iron Man 3 that Ben Kingsley was the Mandarin, and then he wasn't. And I feel like that's Marvel trolling us. And now, years later, we might actually see something come out of that. but they've been playing with X-Men for years now. And we just got to be patient with it. But honestly, I'm happy we're getting the Fantastic Four first. That I'm happy about, because we haven't seen a great one of those movies yet. But either way, Marvel, you're doing good. Keep up the good work. We'll see down the line. But right now, this casting, that's some good stuff there. Yeah. And that is all the entertainment news we have for you guys this week. It's a pretty short week when it came to news, but the casting was a pretty big one, at least for us nerds anyway. Exactly. If you want all the latest and breaking news, you can always go to our social media channels on Instagram at boxoffice_bingers and our Facebook and Thread page at boxofficebingers. We'll post all the latest and breaking news over there first, and then we'll come back on the show and we'll talk about it. So with that, we're going to be moving on to our fun segment we like to call What You're Watching. So David, we'll start with you. What have you watched?
Awesome sauce. All right, so first I'll start with what I'm... Bring out the list, man. Come on, bro.
I just see him just like, oh, right here.
It's a short list. It's a short list this time. All right, so actually, what I've been watching week to week, Resident Alien just started season 3 last week. It's a phenomenal show with Alan Tudyk starring as an alien who comes to a town and then takes over as a small town's doctor. Dude, it's funny. It's a very funny show, and it's actually based off a comic book. So when I met him at MegaCon, I had him sign Resident Alien issue 1.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, sir. Nice. Right, and then Halo season 2 just started, which is another phenomenal show. That was my favorite show, a brand new TV show from 2022. And I think this is going to be like my favorite show this year too.
I remember liking the first season. I haven't started the second season yet. I pretty much wait until it's all done and then I'll do like a big binge on it. But like it had its moments in season 1, but overall I enjoyed it. But then I'm hearing like season 2 has been like, I heard that's like 10 times better than season 1.
Oh yeah, it is because they're diving right into it. You don't need really background no more. Yeah, dude, season 2 is really good. But I watched season 1 already like 3 times. Like, that's not an over exaggeration. And then Abbott Elementary season 3 just started. It's just as good as it's better.
But now does it pick up? Because I felt like the last season ended very abruptly. Do they find a way to kind of bring it kind of reconnected and kind of
but it goes a different way. But in a way that the writing is well done. Like
so it works.
It works.
Right.
But it's only on the first episode, I think, or second episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it just started.
Yeah, that's another one. I'm gonna wait till it drops and then I'll watch the whole thing.
And then Next Level Chef is a Gordon Ramsay TV show that goes week to week. I watch with my girlfriend all the time. And then what I'm watching right now is I'm trying to finish Bad Batch season 2 of the Clone Wars TV show because season 3 is about to come out. But it's just bro. It's a really well written show, but it's just the little girl Omega. Every episode, it's all she does is find a way to get in trouble so they can go save her. and then the actress that plays her has a very, very strong New Zealand accent. So she talks like this, and hey Teak, hey Omega, bro, it's really hard to watch, and I love Star Wars. And then besides, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I've seen the first season of The Bad Batch, and I remember like the first episode of it was just like blown away, really, really good. And then throughout the season, what fell off. I mean, I finished the first season, but it's like there's just a lot of filler in there, and it's like here's our main story, and then there's like 3 back-to-back that's like problem of the week, and then episode 4 we come back to the main story. It's like we could have done without those 3 episodes in the middle. And I understand like this is like a formula they might have used for Clone Wars, but you don't need that on Disney Plus. You really don't need that. And like just stick with your story. Like I think right now they have 16. You can probably give us 8, and that's okay. It's fine. Like to his point, excuse me, the girl will be in trouble. They go save her. Oh, they're on a mission of the week type of deal. And at the end, it's like I don't like you came back where you started. I don't like this mission meant nothing on the overall plot. And then all of a sudden like you sit through all that, and then it's like that one that was a good one. That went back to like 3 episodes ago when the story mattered. And now, so I never watched season 2. and I heard they pretty much did the same thing. And the Star Wars fan in me wants to continue on. I feel like it's going to be a while before I jump back on it.
Yeah, like it's rough. It's rough. It's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough, man. But it's like really good animation, and then
Absolutely.
then you're actually getting like important. Like apparently Bad Batch season 2 ends off. I don't know, but with like something that leads off like very important to the main story of Star Wars that goes off into the movies and whatnot. So it's like, okay, I guess I have to pick it back up. And then if you've seen the season 3 trailer, it's really dope. And someone comes back, an important character from the Clone Wars that he thought was dead comes back. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta rewatch this. Annoying chick gets saved every week. But anyway, so what else I'm watching is also just that 70s show and Community. Like those two sitcoms. That 70s show when I'm with my girlfriend and Community when I'm by myself. Both of those are really, really really good. And then stuff that I would like to say, like make a shout out to, like I just finished or something. After Carl Weathers died, R.I.P. I went and for the first time watched the first 4 Rockies. So that was cool. Dated, but it was good. They were good movies. They were good movies.
Dated.
Yeah, but it was
you said that was the first time you watched those movies?
Yeah, well, like as its entirety. Like I know I've seen bits and pieces as a kid when my dad would watch it and stuff like that. But I never sat down and like saw the story, even though I knew exactly what was going to happen and stuff. But it was cool.
Sure.
It was it was good, and like I'm a Stallone fan, so it's just crazy that I just like
Hadn't seen it yet.
Masters of the Universe, guys. I don't know if you've ever seen that, the Kevin Smith show on Netflix.
Yeah.
The season 3 got 100% on like rating. It's phenomenal. And then they had William Shatner on it, right? So you have William Shatner played a younger version of Skeletor, but you also have Mark Hamill voicing the normal version of Skeletor. Well, there was an episode where you had literally Captain Kirk and Luke Skywalker talk like in dialogue together.
That's funny.
And like that, if that doesn't make you nerd out, like I don't know what does. You know what I'm saying? And it was done really well. Also, finally just saw the last season of Rick and Morty. Season 7 was finally on HBO.
Ooh, okay.
They got the new voices because remember Justin Roiland got fired, I believe his name is. The first episode's a little wonky, but by the second episode, like it's not so far off where it takes you out. So whatever. Also I just finished Ink Masters. Also just finished as a sitcom King of the Hill. Dude, that show is so funny. I really cannot wait for the revival.
Have you watched it before? Is this like a rewatch?
No, it's just a rewatch.
Yeah,
I love that show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's star-studded. Like Danny Trejo, which, like you said, we just got to meet, but he's like a main character on that show who plays multiple people. You know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
R.I.P. Brittany Murphy was on that show.
Oh, that's right.
Stephen Root's on that show who plays multiple people. So yeah, and then also ones I want to watch is the Mr. and Mrs. Smith show that we're going to talk about a little bit. Like I do want to watch that show, and then also the Avatar that comes out this week. I think
it's getting good, really good early reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny because every year is like, all right, what's coming around on my birthday? Like what's my birthday watch? And nothing ever comes out on the day of my birthday, but this one, Avatar, is, and I was like, this is what I'm all. I mean, I have to work on my birthday, but the next day off, I'm like, this is my day. I'm gonna watch all of this. This is what I'm doing. Mainly because I was gonna watch it anyway, but mainly due to the fact is like, you release this on my birthday. That's a gift to me, Netflix. Thank you. And I'm gonna watch all of it. It does look really good. I am excited for it. We'll see what comes out of it after the last live action version, but it does feel like that they're calling this, they said don't think of this as a remake, think of this as a remix. So some things might not go like exactly how it was in the cartoon, I'm assuming, and because I think I was reading an article explaining like why they made the changes that they did even before we even seen it, and they're saying that there's like a lot of filler in the shows. Like I think each season's like 23 episodes, and again they do like a mission of the week and stuff like that, so like we kind of cut that out and consolidated some of that, so it might be skewed in a different way, but I think at the very least, I'm assuming anyways, like you still get the same vibe, if not, I mean I don't know, but either way I was like, okay, this makes sense. You're not gonna put everything in the show, But
It also may
I'm
not be as Nickelodeon-ish, like maybe
right.
a much darker Avatar than what we're used to, which
Yeah,
I'd be okay with.
Absolutely. And then also this is in conjuncture with like the creators who started the process with Netflix and then they left, which was like
gives me worries a little bit. But then you see the trailer and
Right.
it's like so accurate to like the cartoon, so it's like
Right.
fingers crossed.
And then maybe it's just maybe it won't be, and because aren't they still going over to Paramount and starting their own like Avatar Studios? 'Cause they have
their
a
whole universe.
Yeah, they have
Yep.
like a whole universe they're about to.
So it's kind of
I
works out
get
for
it.
the better for both of it, for like the fans. Like we still get this Avatar movie if it does good. Hopefully they build on that in their Netflix universe. But because of the disagreement, like we get the creators have full creative privilege over at Paramount, and they're gonna build some wild stuff for us as the fans. So as the fans, we kind of win on both accounts. Hopefully, if the Netflix movie's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think to your point, we both win. We get two different versions of it. And we might be still waiting a while for that Avatar animated movie, I believe it is, before they're diving into a TV show. I love Legend of Korra as well.
Me
I think
too.
they did a great job with that show. So yeah, let's keep them coming. I'm really looking forward to this. So
I would love if they did. It's the Earthbender Avatar before Aang, the one that was a female and she was with the crap.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember her name.
And she was in the TV show in like one of the flashbacks and whatnot. But like it would be really cool if they did like her timeline or something.
Oh yeah.
They
I mean,
could take a lot of liberties.
There's so many different places they can explore.
Just don't go into like the future and stuff. I don't see that stuff. Like
just stick right
yeah,
here.
like the only thing that my only gripe, and it's not even a gripe because I didn't really care. I'm just saying like I would prefer it just to be like in a time with no technology. Like I thought Avatar was cool. Like Korra was kind of pushing it with like the steampunk stuff, but it worked for the story, so I was there for it.
Yeah. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to that show. Netflix still has some winners up their sleeves when it comes to the content. Hopefully it is anyway.
Wheels fall off.
They sure do.
Yeah, it's so true.
I don't have much this week. I just have Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the new show on Amazon with Donald Glover, and I have to tell you, it is fantastic. It's hilarious. It's like this nice dark comedy where it's like you're exploring like the inner workings of their marriage, but like each thing of the week kind of ties into whatever mission they're doing. So like there's one episode where she suspects him of cheating, and then she shows up to the girl's house and she points a gun at her and she's like, "How long you been seeing my husband?" And then she just goes and starts questioning her, and then she's like talking to her about her problems, and the girl goes, she's like, just so we're clear, we're not connecting. Like we're like, you have a gun pointed directly at me. Like we're not connecting. And it's just like little shit like that, or like a lot of their bickering, and it's just mixed in with whatever mission they're doing. It works. I think it works. Like you're involved. I'm invested in like finding out where their relationship is going, and how them be in just the exploration of that universe that's kind of expanded from the Brad Pitt Angelina Jolie movie. It's surprisingly it's really well done. But I'm also a huge Donald Glover fan.
Yeah, about to say it. In this case, I was again also skeptical with this. Like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Donald Glover. I don't know. Like you trust Donald Glover, but also then he's like, well, I'm not sure how the TV series is going to work out, but I guess in Donald Glover we trust because he put out another hit.
Yeah.
I know we even though he wasn't in it, but he was producing it, and maybe directed a few episodes. But we really enjoyed Swarm last year that he was involved in.
That shit's crazy.
I feel like I'm a little bit behind of watching. I mean, I'm behind a lot of shows, but I have yet to watch Atlanta, and that's something I do want to watch eventually.
Atlanta's fantastic. He's fantastic in that, and also Brian Tyree Henry is a major role in that, and Lakeith Stanfield. The three of them are they play off each other so well.
And that's all you got?
Oh yeah, that's all I got this week.
Aside from the Oscar watches that we'll probably dive into a little bit next week as we are going down the road of the Oscars. Aside from all of that, I've watched and finished Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. I know, David. Before I tell my thoughts, what were your thoughts on Monarch?
Dude,
You finished it, right?
Yeah, I finished it. The thing is, I actually really love this monster universe. Like, I've never been into like Godzilla or King Kong before this. Like, the one time I saw a King Kong movie was when me and Ernesto drove up when we were teenagers to Orlando, and we told our parents we were going to go look at at colleges. And so to do that, it's like just so we can have like our own vacation. We're like 18 and finally free, right? We didn't really do anything mischievous, but like we told our parents we're gonna go look like tour some colleges, and like just so we had proof, we literally just drove through colleges and taking pictures. Yes. Just kept it moving, and then like walked around like the International Drive and stuff. So me and Ernesto go watch King Kong movie, and like I buy all this food, and I fall asleep, and I wake up to all my food being gone. I'm talking about burgers, nachos, soda.
I don't remember any of that.
I know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
This was the Peter Jackson's
Jack Black one.
Yes, exactly. No,
wasn't it?
You know, yeah, it's Jack Black.
Yeah,
was he in that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw it in
He's a safari guy.
the iDrive IMAX.
Oh yeah, that's a good one to see it in.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I also watched that movie in theaters. I did not know going into it was a 3-hour movie. I did not know that, and so I'm literally watching this sitting there. It's like, man, we're still wow.
Yeah.
Going.
Yeah,
I mean,
hour
it
in,
was a bad movie, but I was like, I was not expecting to sit there for 3 hours.
It's pretty long.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not. Like I'm saying, I was never really a fan, but like when I watched the first 4 movies, they were amazing. So like, I can't wait. I was excited for this show, and now I can't wait for the 5th movie.
The Godzilla.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. Like
Godzilla
I will be
X-Kong.
like probably the opening night for me. Like I can't wait to continue that story. I'll dress like an ape.
See you like a little Godzilla.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the little
right.
head
With
thing
my
on.
little hammer.
Yeah.
Let me in this bad.
But how was this show with Kurt Russell and White Russell?
It was very smart to have a father-son combo who are very similar. Like the apple didn't fall from the tree. Fall far from the tree. So it's really smart to have them play the same character at different times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart.
Smart casting.
Very smart casting. And then it also, like, they went into a lot of depths on how the Middle Earth time affects reality. Like, it's not like they're not just like swimming in the ground beneath us. It's more or less portals and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of got into that in Godzilla versus Kong. They kind of explained how like Hollow Earth in the movie, like that's where the dinosaurs were living. This particular show kind of explains the halfway point. I forgot what they called it, but it's not Hollow Earth that we see from Godzilla versus Kong. It's like the midpoint between Earth and Hollow Earth. It's like this little realm that basically the portals and what David was talking about, these monsters travel to. It's kind of ridiculous when you think about it, but I mean, at this point, if you can believe a giant lizard's walking around, then you can believe anything this series is trying to throw at you. But I enjoyed it for what it was. There was a lot of elements that I didn't care for, but like everything that was with Wyatt Russell and the past, I was able to connect with more because you were seeing like the birth of Monarch. And that was, to me, was more interesting
Than the
present day, where we're following Kurt Russell and these group of teenagers who, like, for the most part, is like, we're looking for our dad. Like, who the fuck is your dad? I don't.
Yeah, fuck your dad.
It's like, we gotta find him. I don't care. Like,
and then oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, but to draw in like more like more drama, like, okay, so like the guy you're looking for has 2 families, and then those kids find out, and that's like, and then he's like trying to reconnect with his children, and like there's one scene where there's like, Dad, and he turns around and then he realizes that both his kids who should never see each other are standing side by side. He's just like, oh fuck. He's like, and he like gets in his car and drives away.
I mean, there are other things that are happening in that scene, but yes, that's what happened.
It's the whitest brush I could paint.
Other things are happening to cause him to leave, but yes, that is what happened. But yeah, it's like that whole storyline, especially since those characters are not in the movies. Yeah. It's like, why do I care about any one of you? Why are we going along this? I think it would have been way better if they just stuck with the Monarch, the birth of the Monarch storyline, and then maybe flash to the future and we see Kurt Russell and how they did it. They slowly kind of dived into that. I think the last episode when we were kind of stuck in that little middle ground area was pretty solid as well. And then like the whole thing with May and her like secret, she had to run away from the U.S., from her job to go to Tokyo to hide out. I was like, again, don't care about any of that. It's like it just didn't matter. Like to the end of the day,
she's right.
Like, I wasn't really here to see monsters because I knew this was a show about Monarch, and we did get monsters. They sprinkled them in there throughout the show, but
we got Godzilla a few times.
He goes, "Don't care."
But it's like, come on, man! You give me 10 episodes of this, as like you could have done this in 5 without all of that. Like I did not care. So like it was solid though. I think what I appreciated with the show the most is the bridge that we got between the first Godzilla movie that was in 2014. We got some connective tissue into Kong Skull Island, and then this is all kind of a prelude to what eventually would be King of Monsters, the 2019 film. So all of this took place before all that craziness was going on. So if there is an option for a season 2 that can take place
anytime after,
or just right before, honestly, because we still like I don't want to spoil the very ending of it, but they introduced an element where it could be interesting to see 2 different corporations kind of battling it out on like whatever scientific thing they want to do with it, and kind of take the show in a slightly different direction without like maybe Godzilla being the focus, maybe some other big monsters as the focus. And like that could be an interesting season 2 for the show if they want to dive into that, which I'll be into if they do, but now I'm going to have a little bit reserved for it. But like I'll give this like a solid like 6.5, 7 out of 10, you know, as far as like what this show offered. Like if you're definitely into this world, then by all means watch this show. Like this is really like just we're not like, this is not a necessary watch for these movies by any means, but if you want a little more insight into this world, this is a solid show for it.
Absolutely, that's exactly how I feel.
But anyway, that's all I've been watching, that's all we've been watching, and so now we're going to be diving to our spoiler rant.
Spoiler rant?
What are you talking about? I can't wait. This movie was so good.
Spoiler rant?
Yes, he did.
A spoiler rant of the week, which is Madam Web. And David, I hope you don't, and Ernesto, I hope it's okay. Typically, I have our guest start, and then Ernesto goes, and then I go. If it's okay with you guys, can I start this?
I would love to hear what you have to say about this movie, about this Emmy award-winning movie.
Exactly.
Yes. As I said, this is you're going to see a different man in this episode. I'm just going to start off by saying, fuck this movie.
Yes, come to the dark side.
Yes. Ooh,
let the hate out. It's your heart.
This is going to be therapeutic for me because I've been having this pent-up rage.
You need a vent, man. I'm here.
Other people at work are asking me, "Oh, you saw that? How was it?" And like, I've been holding it back. But now I feel like I'm in a safe space.
Lay it on.
But truly, fuck this movie. Like I cannot believe there is a movie worse out there than Morbius, which I did not like. But I think there were some elements, if I remember correctly, that we were able to pick out maybe a few positives in Morbius. I know we were harsh, but maybe not that harsh. I didn't go back and listen to that episode, and I really don't want to remember that movie again.
Ever.
Because I would never watch that movie again. But like sitting down and watching this one, again, with every movie we go into, it's like we're keeping an open mind. We know it's Sony. We know it's probably not going to be great, but maybe there's an element in there that could be good. And then as soon as the movie starts, I was like, wow, all right. This is going to be a journey. And then the movie continues. You're like, fuck this. Like, it's like, there's about halfway through the movie, I was like, this is another level of bad. It's not even to the level of it's so funny it's bad. It's just a bad, like, I was one of 6 people in this movie, and I'm pretty certain the people in the back row were making out the entire time. Because when I was walking up the stairs in this the biggest theater that they have in the theater, they're already making out during the commercials. So I'm pretty sure they were doing that for the rest of the time. Good for them. Have a good time up there.
No one was supposed to be in the theater. they went to the most
me
popular.
and the three other people that were in that movie, like it was such, and like I never hated a movie so much walking out of it. Like, it's literally the credits roll. I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? What garbage did Sony put on the screen? Who approved any of this? Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, the rest of the cast,
Trash.
but specifically Dakota Johnson,
All trash.
did not care about this movie whatsoever. They present her as a very unlikable character with zero redeeming qualities whatsoever. And throughout the whole movie, they're basically saying, I don't care about you kids. That is pretty evident throughout the entire movie, that you don't care about what the fuck's going on in this movie. It is very, very clear. And then we start off in Peru for some, like, sure, let's get in there. And we have like this pregnant woman who is like, fuck my baby, because it's preventing me from my work. It's like, wow, mother of the year already. And then you have this guy creeping around, and it's like, what are you doing? This is like, I'm just your tour guide. And then all of a sudden she finds this CG looking spider, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Right, and then like this, then they're just like briefly talked about like these monkey legends that are in the jungle or something.
Spider people,
sure. And then all
That
of
was a
sudden
little
she
bit
gets
racist.
shot.
I'm not gonna lie.
And then all of a sudden he comes out with a gun because he wants to know, steals the CG spider, which means nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
It means nothing. Like, he took it and it does nothing for the rest of this movie. And then all of a sudden these spider monkey people come out of nowhere and they steal her, run however which direction they want throughout the woods, and then they go into this pond, have the biter spider say, hey, here's your baby, now you're dead now. And then it just flashes forward to present day, I'm sorry, 2002 is when the movie takes place. 2003, and she's a paramedic, and then in my head's like, how the fuck she get there? Did they just like ship her off? Did they have a private jet somewhere to ship her
Somewhere
back to the
to New York.
US? Like, how did the hell that happen? And then the dialogue in this movie is atrocious.
Yeah.
They're just, it's bland. It's bland delivery with a bland script, and like there's no the only person that was good in this movie, if I'm going to give anybody any credit, is Adam Scott, because one, I didn't know that he was in this movie, and two, he was the only person that was acting. Like, he's like, hey guys, we're getting paid for this. I guess we should at least try. And they're like, nah, we're good. And then like you have these three teenagers. Before I get to that, we have the villain. First of all, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't. As far as the production value is concerned, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of dialogue that was not matching with his.
Oh my gosh!
There was a very specific scene towards the end of the movie. I was like, I literally, David, who had fallen asleep, I woke him up and
multiple times.
I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "His mouth is not moving." And the words are coming out as he's like, and it's always this. It seemed to be the scenes where he's talking shit to his assistant, who's just trying to help him. And he's like, "Get it together, bitch! Come on, type, search faster. I gave you access."
And so
his oracle.
It's like, God, you're so mean to her. She should just tell you.
She's
the
literally
wrong
your
place to
saving
go.
grace.
Yes, she's trying to help you.
Oh, and no, the spider he stole the spider and then he gave himself spider powers.
Yeah, he's one of
right. He did.
Yeah.
So that
for reasons doesn't matter. We don't know why he needed those powers. He just wanted it for whatever reason, because he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want this spider so I can get powers to do what with it? I don't know. What does he do? Don't care. Because they never show you what he did with his newfound ability. He just knows that he's having these visions that these three spider women come and kill him.
Yeah,
so then he decides to sleep with the scientist who works somewhere and then kills her for access to this face recognition thing so we can find who they are. But we have to de-age them because this is in the future that my visions are in, and we got to look in the present day, which is in the past. And then we have typey, and then we find the faces, and then apparently they're all in the same place, and they go in the subway, and then Dakota Johnson happened to be there, who's seeing these future visions, and then they're like, wait a minute, this is bad. I don't care about any of you people, by the way. I'm going to make that known, but I'm going to save you. And then all of a sudden, the Spider Monkey villain dude, which his costume is pretty
The only thing that was pretty cool was his.
You think that was so CW?
Yeah,
That's
but considering all the other costumes that we got, and I'm sorry, didn't really get to see.
Not yet.
We didn't get to see. His was like the best one. This all back in black. I mean, out of everything that we got, that was the only thing. Like, it looked semi-cool.
Yes.
This movie
I
sucks so
agree with
bad I can't give it no saving graces.
That's fair. I'm also not mad at that.
Yeah,
it's
I
okay.
understand.
I'm gonna disagree on everything just because this movie sucks so bad.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And so then after that, then they go. Then she's like, I'm gonna drive away, and then she being accused of kidnapping. Sure, I get that. And then they're gonna hide them in the woods, and she's like, BRB, I gotta find shit, but don't come with me. Go in the woods. And they're like,
Stay
okay,
here for 3 hours.
Don't move. I'm gonna go back to my apartment to try to sort this shit out. And then 2 seconds later, after she gets there, I'm gonna go in my mom's like hope drawer or something, and like boom, here's a photo. It's like, oh no, that's the villain. I gotta go back and get these children. Why didn't they come with you in the first place? Doesn't matter. Anyway, these kids are being kids. Go have fun at a diner and start dancing at a table.
That just
and
happens to be a half mile away.
Yeah,
Let's hide in the woods, but there's a diner half mile away.
That they were able to get to quicker by walking. Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
That didn't make any sense to me.
She drove for hours, that it would felt like, to go around the road to use her car instead of just plowing through the woods or just running that way. And then they kill her, and then they stop the villain for another round of whatever bullshit. And then this is the part that even frustrated me more, and leading into the end of this movie, she's like, "All right, guys, I really got to find out." But before that, we got this sob story about how they're basically orphans and their parents don't love them, and Dakota Johnson's like, "Don't care." And so then it's like, I'm gonna. And then she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna send you over to my friend, and you hide out. I need to go to Peru real quick because I gotta discover what the hell's going on. Let's snap Peru time. We're there." And then all of a sudden,
nobody's searching for me. I can just get on a plane, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah, no worries. Like, even though they were looking for her for a kidnapping, but that's fine. That story's long gone at this point.
She's not flagged at all at the airport. What are you talking about?
Nope, she's good. She used a disguise. She put on a mustache or something. Maybe changed her hair. And so then put on glasses, whatever. It worked for other people. It worked for Superman if you put on glasses, so it must be working for her. So anyway, moving on. So she goes to Peru, and then all of a sudden she goes to the exact spot, and I'm pretty sure that spider web is still there, of where her mom was taking photos of. And then all of a sudden the guy's like comes out of nowhere. He's like, "I knew he'd be back." Like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then he's like, "Oh yes, like that's right, you came back. We knew this was gonna happen. Let's go over to the pond where your mother died, and then you can go in the same pond and discover that you have these powers that mean nothing, and it's like you can see the future." He's like, "Oh, but I don't have any abilities." Like, "Well, seeing the future is a hold on. When you assume the responsibility, greatness will come." Go fuck off with that line. Go fuck off with that line. Get out of here.
There's
man.
a bunch of those.
Are you serious? When you assume the responsibility, greatness will come? Get out of here, man. And then I don't know who knows how long she was in Peru for, but doesn't matter. Then all of a sudden she's back, but then Emma Roberts shows up because she's pregnant, and that's not even Ben, like Adam Scott's his sister, I believe.
No, that's his nephew. That's Peter Parker that she's pregnant with.
Uncle Ben, right? So
that's
his
Uncle Ben.
It's not
because
his dad.
Richard
his
is
dad.
off doing science shit somewhere. Mm-hmm. So Ben is taking care of Mary Parker, and she's pregnant with Peter, and they have the baby shower. Let's find the name. And she asked her, Dakota Johnson. I told David, I said, I'm gonna lose it if she says fucking Peter, like, but then they just hold on her. Didn't we already just do this?
I did not pull any of that together, to be honest with you. Like, you are giving me more context about this movie as we're having this conversation, or at least I'm ranting at this point.
There's a lot of them. Like, literally, they're in the ambulance. She's like, "All that power without responsibility, Ben." It's like, shut up. Shut up, Dakota
Shut
Johnson.
your mouth.
Shut up.
Your non-talented lips. You keep them shut.
Say, hush. Why would you say that? Why would you need to say that to Ben Parker?
They thought that they were being clever with the words, and it's just pissing off every fan of the Spider-Man universe whatsoever. And then now her water broke, and everybody needs to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Even though they're supposed to be in hiding. They're like, "No, we all need to go jump in this little tiny car together and drive her to the hospital." Ben is more than capable of driving It's such as the hospital. We need everybody. Just stay in hiding. But nah, that's boring. But then they also call the ambulance, but they're not going to be here in time. So the ambulance comes to the house like maybe 2 minutes later, but they're already gone. And then Dakota Johnson, hey, I'm back from Peru. That's cool. When the hell that happened? Doesn't matter. And so then she's like, oh, I just arrived at the same time as the ambulance. I'm going to go and steal that. And because of my visions, I know where they're going to be. And then plows through a parking garage to stop him when they're already in the middle of an intersection. What? What?
Besides John Wick, I've never seen someone get hit by more cars.
Yeah.
Like
Madam Web, what is her powers?
She can drive through walls.
Hit you with a car.
Bro, she literally pegged him twice, bro. The first time I was like, luck. Second time, through a wall. Through a wall. My butt, bro. My butt. Dude, I don't know.
And then we get to the grand finale, which honestly I was a little bit curious about. I was like, are we really? Is this toward the end? It felt like a fever dream at this point, but now we're going to the end of this movie, and we're like, we have to throw off all these fire things that are flammable. We're just gonna distract him with all this explosion stuff in the air, and then she's using her powers to like dodge that. Like, watch out! Whoa! Like, how are you doing that? It's like, I can control my powers now. Shut up. And so then they're going about in this mission, and then she was like, you were worried about there being the threat of your future, but you should have worried about me. Shut up. No. This is poor dialogue. The dude dies. And then we get to the part that pissed me off the most. The one that like the cherry on top of the cake of like, wow, you really just put a pin on how much I really hate this movie, because the movie's already bad in general. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you give the people who were looking for anything with this movie basically what they wanted. You put everybody in a costume, and you put her. Dakota Johnson gets blind by the end of this fight, and then now she's formed this family, and then all of a sudden she's also in a wheelchair as well, or something.
Professor X.
Well, that's like Madam Web. She's blind and in a wheelchair, but she can see all through the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
And then she goes in and like she's randomly staring at this window, which looks so stupid, and then the teenagers walk through the door and they're like ordering Chinese food, and she goes, "Bless you," and then she sneezes. And like, I can see the future. Remember, I can see the future. And then they're like,
dude, I forgot about that part. Dude, she was like so shocked to say that. Thank you. Like, oh, shut the fuck up, bro.
Like the kids are like, "How do you know this? You know how she knows this. Stop pretending like
you didn't just experience it all.
You did this already. You know this." And then she's like, and then they're like, "Don't worry, girls. You guys have a bright future ahead of you." Like, where the fuck did that come from? And then all of a sudden, Ernesto, if you don't mind throwing up that photo, yes, that one. This is the photo where the movie ends, and everybody in costume. We get quick snippets of like their potential of what they are in the future of these three individuals going to be great, super powered individuals. We don't know how. It doesn't really explain anything. It's just saying that their future is bright. And then all of a sudden we see Madam Web in costume and the thing, and looks exactly like what you see in the comics. And then the movie ends. So the reason why this pissed me off even more, because I'm literally watching this movie. This is the final shot of the movie. Movie ends, and then you see the credits, and I literally again say, "Fuck this!" Like, fuck you for doing that, because this whole time it made me feel that you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew pretty much what the fans wanted, but you gave a shitty origin story that at the very end of the movie that you decided to put them in costume. The generic basic foundation of a superhero movie is before the third act, your heroes are in costumes and you fight the bad guy.
Yes.
That is standard. And you didn't do any of that. So not even the basic nerds can at least appreciate that aspect of the movie. You decided to do this instead. It's like, guess what? We're going to give you what you want in the second one. No, there is no second one, because this movie's fucking garbage. That's why.
We don't want any more of it.
Absolutely not. And so, anyway, I'm going to stop there. I went on off.
Do you feel better?
Guys. I do a little bit. Yes, it was pretty long, but fuck this movie. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. You guys have your thought.
Matt, after that rant, we had to take a quick break to come right back because you went off. You obviously hit a lot of sentiments.
A great
that
disdain for this movie.
But David, before I go, let's hear what your experience.
I mean,
what little bit you stayed awake for.
Well, let's just go off with the Dakota Johnson superb acting method. It was. I'm speechless. I don't think I've ever seen such depth, such emotion in someone's acting.
You can tell the truth though.
All right, she was the absolute dude. The whole time watching this movie, I just kept hearing, and I even said it to Ernesto, The Rock, this is complete utter dog shit. That's what I kept hearing in my mind because the one part that got me the most mad was when she's finessing her driving skills, and she's in her most monotone voice, I'm just driving, and they're you're showing off, aren't you? She's I guess I am. And then does her stupid ass smile. Bro, I've never wanted to punch a girl in the face, but man, she makes me want to punch her. Bro, it was the worst acting. And then, so I've never watched Euphoria, right? So mad people are at least there might be a redeeming quality of this great actress called Sydney Sweeney. Bro, she can't act to save her life either. I don't care. I don't know what anyone saw from Euphoria, but it wasn't in this movie because by far one of the worst actings I've ever seen. It was horrendous. The only thing redeeming quality in this movie is, and I can say this because she's not a teenager in real life, is seeing Sydney Sweeney in a Catholic schoolgirl outfit. That's the only redeeming quality for this whole movie.
Oh my God. I feel like that if anyone was looking for anything, whatever reason you want to go watch this movie,
that'd be it.
Either if you were following the actresses or whatever. I don't even think that's even whatever you're looking for. You're not going to get it.
You're not going to find
in this movie. Whatever it is,
you're not going to find it.
Acting, your favorite actress, your favorite actor, whatever you thought you were going to get out of this movie, it's not. You don't get it. You don't. Not even the slightest.
You think you're going to see a little bit of comic book character movie? No, it's legit dog shit. Also, how is that spider 30, 40 years old, bro? The spider was alive before she was born, and then she gets bitten by the same spider in her late 30s.
So he's rich. What if that spider reproduced and he sold off those other spiders?
What did the spider mean?
It gives him
powers.
It gives him
powers.
the power
to do what?
To jump and get the precognition.
The one thing I will say is that they did say that this spider gives people powers, but it's not going to give them the same power every time. They said it gives you could get a combination, a variation depending on what you get bit. Because I'm just reaching here for I don't know why, but let's just say in the Spider-Man universe, the different Spider-Man usually have a slightly different power. Miles Morales has invisibility, shock. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably trying to reach there, but it was. This movie was asinine.
The fact that they were just only in costume from a brief amount of time, at the very least, again, there's a basic level of when it comes to a comic book movie, just put them in the costume, and you'll be okay.
At least for the final battle,
right? So, for the final battle or something. I don't understand why we leaned heavily on another origin story when we could have avoided all of that and just based on what the trailer already showed. We know these individuals are going to be in costume. This was the biggest fuck you that you can get to the audience because you alluded to the trailer was going to be costumes and they're going to be in action, and then that wasn't even the movie. You got a completely different movie about that.
Yeah, it was just an all around miss. Okay, after the Venoms, I was I'm never going for a Sony movie again besides animation, right? So Morbius. When I saw the trailer for Morbius, I'm that actually looked pretty good. Let me let the masses tell me it was good, and it came back as one of the worst movies ever. Never spent my money on it. Thank you, Halfley, you haven't seen it, right? I was going to give Madam Web the same treatment until I woke up to a text from Ernesto like, hey, you want to go on the podcast? And I'm like, you know what? I do love this podcast enough to suffer through this movie in theater. I will drive an hour each way in traffic just to go watch this crappy ass movie. And you know what?
You love to bash bad movies.
I do. but also, like, we all knew going into this movie it was going to be bad, but we were hoping that we'd at least have a few giggles, because it'd be so bad that it's good, you know?
Yeah.
Or like good enough to laugh at, or good enough to entertain. You might not be the entertainment that they were trying to give us, but we got entertainment because the movie was bad. This movie was so bad and boring that I got my money's worth by falling asleep multiple times. Like, I got a good nap on a comfortable chair. Like, I fell in and out of sleep like 3 times, and I still didn't, like, it didn't affect the movie. Like, I understood exactly what was going on the whole time, even though it was hard.
Such a positive thing to say. That's probably the most positive thing anyone can say about
I paid
this
for
movie.
a good nap.
Yeah.
You paid for a good nap. Yeah, absolutely. That they should put that on the poster. Madam Web.
A good nap.
Good nap.
Yeah. A sleep you'll never want to wake up from this summer.
2 hours.
Also,
Ernesto,
I'm sorry, real quick.
Go.
Also, when the movie ended, me and Ernesto both looked at it like, yo, that's dog shit. Dude, this little kid to like the right of us was like, this was the best movie I've ever seen. And I literally was like, what?
He literally, and
Like-
David was like almost like wanting to engage with this.
Like, yo, let me tell you why you're wrong.
Let that little boy enjoy his life. You know what? He wants to enjoy this movie. Just let him. Like, and me and David were talking about it in the bathroom, and then this little kid walks back in, and we're like,
Oh, I didn't even see him. I didn't even care. I would have told him like,
so terrible. And the kid,
let me tell you why this movie sucks.
Good. Oh my gosh, it's like the best movie I've ever seen.
Then you've
I
never
hope
seen
they
a good
expand
movie.
The universe.
I was like, no, they should never.
Come here, little one.
If this is the
Let me tell you
if this is the best movie he's ever seen, wait till he's seen a good
That's
movie.
what I'm saying,
The
bro.
head will explode.
Like, show him Logan or freaking Deadpool 1 or 2 or like
You know
Captain
what?
America Civil War or something.
Everything has an audience.
Which is
That's fair.
it shouldn't
Ernesto,
though.
Your thoughts?
Oh boy. So going off of everything we've already talked about. The plot is terrible. I caught the voiceover work being really bad. You know what it seems like? There was more, like maybe there was more connection, like where they had more hope. And then when they realized how terrible it was, they're like, all right, we're just going to have to change some of this dialogue here and like just kind of erase these connections. Because there's literally points where we're hearing him talk
And not seeing
his mouth move, or they show a lot of the assistant and it's just pure voiceover work. I was like, oh, and look, he's not even moving. It's very clear, like it's
Editing
very clear
was bad.
bad voiceover work. Like you said, I liked Adam Scott. I thought he was one of the only things that was redeemable about it. Even though they really lingered. I thought they were playing really hard on the whole Ben Parker thing. Because like in the beginning, like, oh, Ben, you got a hot date? Yeah, I really like her. And then it just got real quiet. It's like, okay, is this supposed to be like, you know, Aunt May? Is that who you're supposed? Is that what's going on? Or like the whole baby shower scene? Like, oh, whatever Dakota Johnson's character's name is. What do you think the name of the baby is? And like the whole aspect of how they use her precognition was just annoying. Like,
yes.
So we get the opening scene of seeing her go through her weird dying thing, but then we get to completely relive the scene all over again at the end when she's exploring her powers. When she thinks that she hates her mom and she stared at her through the web, she's like, why do you hate me so much? Why do you hate me? You didn't hate me. You really loved me. You know, we get the scene with, you know, understanding why she went to go explore all that. Like, we could have erased that whole opening scene and just started her in 2003 in the ambulance and gotten all that as a flashback. And while that was still terrible, would have been better than what we got. And then every scene, we have to relive the whole precognition scene. It's like we spent so much time reliving the same scene over and over again, which certain times, if done creatively, I'm okay with. But the cinematography in this movie is so bad. Like, literally, the opening shot has, like, literal zoom in and zoom outs. I was like, is this happening?
Like, shit's happening, and it's like, whoa.
It's literally zoom in, shaky cam. It's like, zoom, ooh, I shot you. Ooh, I got you. Spider people are coming, and it's like,
spider. Yo, we also forgot to talk about how bad those, like, Native American, or, wow, that's race. The native people to the Peruvian lands, like, with all their, like, spider costumes. And it's, like, drop down from the trees and, like, the way they were running, and you just see, like, the trees moving.
It was just very...
Bro, very bad.
It wasn't even, like,
the
a
CW
good cheesy.
It was
just a bad... It was just bad cheesy. And when she went back to the Peru and she found out about her mom, I go, oh, I bet she's going to unlock the full potential of her power. And then she did. Once you unlock your power, you can be in more places than once. And that's how she saved the girls at the end of the movie. She needed to be in multiple places at once. So she went to the different, spread herself out through all those points in time and was able to save them all. But then that's what cost her legs and her eyes.
There are consequences to using your power.
Because great power has great oh, no, wait, no, that's not what she says in this movie.
No,
Once you achieve...
When you assume the responsibility, greatness will come.
You shut your mouth.
It's like...
Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up.
Put your...
why was the bad guy so mean to his assistant? And she
because he's a bad guy, bro.
At the very least, some redeeming quality should have been her being given like a FU to that guy.
Yeah.
Like at least, like you're supposed to go like west over here and like send him across town the wrong way. Oops, I guess I read it wrong. I was too busy thinking about you yelling at me.
No, for real.
There was just a lot of the movie that's just frustrating. There was just a lot of movie that was just frustrating. That it just either you started something and you completely negated everything else. It's now I feel like I'm more mad about this movie because now I'm thinking about all those references to like Ben Parker and this and that. It's like I didn't catch that at first, nor did I feel like I think I would have been more mad if I knew that going in or watching it, seeing it play out like that, because it's just like you're pandering to the audience at this point. You're making us feel like we're idiots for like not going along with this movie. It's like it is evidently clear that for whatever reason you don't care about this franchise whatsoever, and you're just here to keep your Spider-Man IP alive.
Exactly, because part of the stipulation with them, they have to, I forgot how many years they have to release content like once every couple years to continually renew their IP with Spider-Man. So they're willing to take the money from, him coming over to do Civil War and to do his string of movies because they can still make money off of that. And Spider-Verse, the animated movie, has been very successful. But they're willing to put out shit like this so that they can keep their IP with Spider-Man. And it's very, very clear. Because if they don't, then it will revert back to Marvel. And then Marvel will be able to do it correctly, and involve all of their characters.
Can you imagine an actual MCU with all the Spider-Man characters like being able to be done right? It would be so much better than what we've gotten, and what we've gotten was good. But like
at least we have the Spider-Verse to lean on for that type of content. But like I just don't understand, like, as you're spending millions of dollars and this is probably not going to be great, and you've gone through probably multiple rewrites. I know Dakota Johnson has stated that the movie that she signed on for is not the movie that is at the end of the day, because there's been through so many scripts. She said script changes. She said that in an interview, she has not seen the movie and quite honestly does not know which version of the movie that is the final product because of so many changes that were happening. I mean, that's obviously part of the problem, but you're also dealing with these people who clearly they're going really low on the filmmaking aspect of it, of like a first-time director who's done a lot of TV shows. You brought back the same writers for Morbius, which is probably because it's cheap. You brought another 2 unknown writers to help along with this script. And then you probably spent most of your money grabbing A-list celebrities to be in your movie to get people here. And then you spend zero effort on anything else with this movie. And I will say this, and I feel bad for the Marvels, and I feel bad for this and Madam Web. These two movies were not great, but they just so happen to be starring a female-led hero. And I feel like a lot of people are going to associate, well, you see, this is why female superhero movies don't work because they're female. Like that's not the case at all.
No,
like
it's bad writing.
That's just bad writing. It has nothing to do with the actors. We've seen them in other properties that are good. They're not the problem. But it seems that, the problem with superhero movies is that you have to have a man leading. You can't have a female leading. And that's just not right.
That's not true,
and
though.
it's not. But it's unfortunate that these two movies are kind of like taking the brunt of what is bad superhero movies. And that's just, to me, that's just not fair for what we're trying to push forward into having these multiple, like the universes are endless here, and yet you're giving the shittiest of quality to the female-led films, and it just sucked because we know that that's not the case. And I would love to see a great movie that's having a female lead. We saw that with Wonder Woman, the first one. That was great. We know it can be done. It's not to say it's not able to do that, but for some reason. It just is going along this route, and it's just unfair for everybody involved. And then now you're saying, well, now we can't do these movies anymore because they're not successful, so we're going to do these instead. And it's like, well, I feel like they weren't given a fair shot to begin with.
Yeah, it's very clear. It's very clear that they don't care.
Very clear.
They don't care. And this gives me zero hope for even Craven now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Was never going to watch that in the first place.
See, but I was excited because it was what's his name, Aaron Taylor Johnson, the kid from Kick-Ass. He was in Bullet Train. Like
he was Quicksilver.
He was Quicksilver.
Like he's fantastic, but clearly that doesn't mean anything in the Sony universe.
Wasn't he in Bullet Train too? Did you just say that?
Yeah, he was in Bullet Train.
Yeah,
that was a great movie.
That's a great movie.
And it's so like, I mean, Venom, I feel like it's in its own little pocket right now. People love Venom, hate Venom. Venom is like has its own success, so like I'm not really too worried about whether people are gonna like that movie or not. But like it's kind of have its own following already. But like especially with Kraven the Hunter, it's like this movie is clear evidence that like I have no reason to watch the next movie.
Yeah,
like I'm going to anyway, just out of pure curiosity and maybe another rant in the future. But like this doesn't serve a good look for whatever Sony's trying to do with this.
No. And
it's embarrassing now.
Yeah. It's like everyone, it's like, maybe. Like, we get hopeful, and then it's like, he didn't even try.
They didn't even try.
Yes.
They didn't even
this
try.
This movie is disrespectfully bad.
Yeah.
Yes. And like the budget on this movie was $80 million, and probably most of it was on your cast.
Yeah,
because it clearly wasn't on the behind the scenes at all. And it's like I also just feel bad for everybody involved in this movie that felt like they never really got a fair chance to actually make a good movie, because I don't feel like they were given the resources to do so. And again, the fact that they kind of played on like these three individuals and we're Spider Women and we're going to be doing this and that, and like you didn't even deliver on that aspect of the movie. I remember like watching an interview of Sydney Sweeney saying that, oh yeah, the character is so synonymous of like going upside down.
I've seen that one.
Right. And so it's like we have to put that in the movie. And so you're like, okay, that's a good thing for an actor to really care about the source material. I respect that. But then it was one moment in the movie.
The only moment.
Like,
the only moment
in the movie
where she's in a costume.
And you're like, what? Wait, so you fought for a scene? Good for you, but like that's all they were given. It's truly an embarrassment, and like I don't care to see this moving forward. Like if a Madam Web 2 happens, that would be shocked first of all.
Never.
But like it's like whatever future that you're trying to build, if any, is kind of like it's not worth it at the end of the day. It like no one's gonna come watch your movie. It came in second to Bob Marley in the box office. You want to briefly bring up the box office numbers there. The budget was about $80 million. It opened, and this was, I believe, the $25 million is opening on just the weekend because it opened on Valentine's Day. And I believe that, I just want to double check on that. Was that from Wednesday or maybe
this is
from...
Box Office Mojo right now.
right now. Okay. So there you go. So those domestic box office, that's under a 6-day opening weekend. So from Wednesday to presumably around Sunday. Monday's number is not out yet as the time of this recording. So 25 million domestically, 25 internationally, $51.5 million worldwide. A decent start. Not saying it's not for an $80 million budget. There is room for people to really go watch this movie and hate it, and maybe it could, dive internationally. But I mean, it's on track of being a flop.
There's also a lot of hate watching going around. Like, people are watching it just to see how bad it actually is.
Like we did.
Yeah,
right.
Like we did. As we are here talking about it now.
Yes. But there's always, with every movie we start, there's always like a little bit of hope that it could be something, some redeemable. It's like, oh, you're setting up this for their Sony universe or whatever. And I just hope we don't hit the day where they start tackling Peter Parker Spider-Man again.
No.
They
let it go.
This doesn't let Marvel do its thing. I would really not like to see them do Miles Morales live action. Based off this, I don't want them to do that.
They'll butcher that character so hard.
You've already got a good one. Let him have his own.
Please let the MCU take care of Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes.
Please. I'm begging you.
This is an embarrassment to all superhero movies. This is easily worse. I didn't think a movie could be worse than Morbius, and this is. But let's get into our final thoughts. David, we'll start with you.
This is absolute dog shit. Like The Rock. I just keep hearing that in my mind over and over. Like the meme says. Complete and utter dog shit.
This movie's awful. It's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I don't know if we can give it 0 stars.
I would.
But if we can't give it a 0 star, then I'm going to go half a star.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. I was trying to... It's funny because as you said that, I was trying to what is our lowest that we can give it? I guess technically it can be 0.
If we can give it, if you can rate it a 0, we need to let
zero.
That's gonna be. That's my vote for me.
0 out of 0 stars.
But if it needs some sort of lowest numerical value, then it would be a 0.5.
0.5. You know what? I can. Let's just we make up our own rules. We're gonna give it a 0.
Thank you.
Well deserved. It's 0. It is what it is. There's nothing redeeming about this movie that makes me want to go watch it again. There's it's very clear that there is no attention to this movies, and I don't know if the filmmakers had the option of trying. I don't want to single them out for any reason, but clearly, whether it was due to laziness or budget, I mean, $80 million, nothing to snuff at. You can make a good movie for $80 million. So
Deadpool
where did the
made in 50, right? Wasn't Deadpool made in 50?
Yeah.
So okay, then there you go.
Yeah. I don't know where the ball dropped. Is it Sony getting their hands involved with
Absolutely.
it? Is it like the difficult writing process of going through 5 different writers to make this? It's were they not given the appropriate amount of time to put this movie together? It just, nothing seemed right, and I would love to see. I would watch a documentary on how this movie fell apart. To be honest with you, I don't think one's gonna be made. No. But
it would make more money than the movie.
It probably would.
Let's just see where this all went wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how we got here and how this movie is acceptable to put out and give to audiences, and yet we are, not given access to other movies that are probably good, that people are saying is good, like what Warner Brothers is doing, and not
I want to see
shelving
Batgirl,
movies
man.
that are.
I would have liked to see Batgirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser has to fly. It had a lot of redeeming qualities.
Firefly, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep.
And then it also had a lot of other people. What's his face was coming? He was also slated for that movie. Batman from '89. Michael Keaton was also slated for that movie too. So that movie had a lot of promise.
But yeah, Madam Web, 0 out of 5 stars. This is not acceptable to put out to audiences. I mean, not even take the superhero element aside. People are wasting their money watching this movie in the theater. It's just a pure waste of time. It's just sad. It's I walked out of there mad, and I don't want to have that feeling walking out of a movie. It's not fair to the audience to give them garbage.
Yeah, because it's you didn't even try. You literally. Yeah. This is very evident that you didn't even try.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's part of me is well, was Morbius that bad? I mean, I'm not gonna go find out because I knew it was bad. But like, if Morbius was already a low bar to pass, and you didn't even pass that, what does that mean? You know, like, are you even gonna try at all with anything? Are you even gonna like take this? Are you gonna even learn your lesson from this movie if you hadn't already learned it from Morbius? And are you gonna actually try to give us something worth seeing in the big screen, or are you just gonna be a joke from here on out?
They're just trying to keep that IP alive, man. That's it.
It's exactly
it's
what's
clear
going
as
on.
day. Like, remember,
But don't make it too obvious.
no, I mean, it's been obvious since Andrew Garfield. Remember, they were going to make the Aunt May movie. Remember that?
Yes,
So
right.
it's like they've been telling us, yo, we don't give a shit.
We just want that. We
Yeah.
want that
We
Spider-Man.
really just want the Spider-Man IP, and we'll put out anything under the umbrella to keep it. And that's just it, man. You saw Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? You saw the Spider-Man 3 movie with Topher Grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
These are all evident. You saw Venom 1 and 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'll give Venom 2 a slide. It was enjoyable because it was short and it went to the point. There was like no fluff in it, so like it wasn't the best and it wasn't the most comic book accurate. But you did get Tom Hardy, and you got what's his face, Woody Harrelson in the same movie. That was cool.
Better than this.
Yeah, way better than
It was
this.
better. There's
I would
some
watch it
redeeming
again.
qualities. Absolutely, I would watch it again. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it was stupid,
Yeah.
but I'll still watch it again. It's one of those movies.
course.
This is just
Bad.
This is garbage. This isn't even stupid.
Dumpster
This is
juice.
garbage.
It was literally like and here's the thing, like, yo, like I may joke around about how bad I don't like Batman, but like that's a good movie that just doesn't correlate with me and some other people. This is an all around bad movie.
Objectively bad.
Objectively bad. Like, there's no opinion. It's a fact.
Yeah.
This is a fact. I think currently it's sitting below Morbius, which is already a low score on Rotten Tomatoes. I believe this one's sitting at where are we at? Of course I have to type it in. This one is at, I think, 13,
Oh, geez,
14,
bro. That's horrible.
14%. Of course. Oh, here we go. This 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's so bad it doesn't even have a consensus reading on it. Like, that's how many people, like, typically there's a consensus, like, little one sentence overall review. This movie doesn't even have that, because I can see the critics didn't really care about it. It's sitting at a 55% on the audience score. So I'm not even going to bother reading why they thought this movie was 55% worthy, because whatever it is, it's probably wrong.
It's still an F, man.
It's still, you're not wrong. It's still an F. And then I believe, just quickly looking up Morbius is sitting at 15%. So it is lower than Morbius on the...
Morbius is like, I'm punching up. I'm punching up.
At least I'm not mad at
I'm no longer have to punch down.
But then the audience score is 71. There is some strange love for that movie with certain audiences. But regardless, anyway, that's our spoiler rant on Madam Web. Sony,
step it up, man.
do better. Do better. This is an embarrassment to cinema right now.
Or just don't do anything else at all and just let Marvel have it, please. Just keep, dude. Can't they just put out like an animated movie, or does it have to be live action to keep it? Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know what the stipulation is, but like, if doing better is giving it back to Marvel, then
Please,
that will do.
Like, and like they could even like give it back to Marvel, but have a stipulation like give us like the rights to make the Spider-Man game still, and give us the rights to the animation.
Right,
and
true.
you know what I'm saying? We'll have our own little pocket universe over here, but like Spider-Man needs to go back to Marvel, and it's more evident now than ever.
Why can't they just
Madam
get the
Web
writers like who wrote the Insomniac games? The Insomniac game storylines are good. Like, I don't know.
They've even made the Insomniac games have even made it into the main continuity of comic books. Like in the last Spider-Verse event, like the white spider suit, that Spider-Man was in. I mean, he was also in the Edge of the Spider-Verse, wasn't he?
Yes.
So he's made it to the movies, and he's also made it to the comic books.
Yeah, because it's good.
It's a good Spider-Man.
Worth watching.
100%.
All right.
I'm looking into Kraven the Hunter right now, and seeing like what this has to offer. And as far as a director is concerned, he did Triple Frontier. His name is J.C. Chandor. He's directed the only movie that I'm familiar with is Triple Frontier, which was a Netflix movie that starred Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal, even. So I remember this movie being okay, not overly, I thought it was fine. That was the last movie he directed, and then he's also a writer and producer. We have different writing team. That was mainly the concern that I had for this movie. Did you bring back the same people again for this movie? Clearly it's not. This guy is known for having a hand in writing the screenplay for Uncharted, Men in Black International, Transformers: The Last Night, which was the bad one, and it does say Iron Man, the original. But also there's 7 screenwriters credited for. Oh no, sorry, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3. There's 4 writers credited for Iron Man, the first movie. So he's one of them, and you also have another writer named Richard, who's responsible for the Equalizer films 1, 2, and 3.
I need to watch those.
So,
but I've heard the third one isn't that good.
That's what Matt said. Matt felt that.
Yeah, I think it was from you guys, great. Actually. Possibly.
It was me. So, like, we already have a different team involved. Already better.
It's a lot of writers.
For Craven.
It's a lot of writers.
Two writers, one pretty still fresh director. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But this right here, this ain't it. But there you go. That's our spoiler rant of the week for Madam Web. Ernesto, tell our lovely listeners what they can look forward to next week.
Next week, hopefully, we're going to be able to wash this movie out of our mouth. We are going to be reviewing Bob Marley, and Kirk will be coming on for that.
Bombaclat.
So, thanks, David. We're looking forward to that. I mean, I'm not big for trailers, but every time I have to see this trailer in the theater, it's usually very exciting. So I'm actually really looking forward to this film.
It actually, and I've already seen this movie, and we're going to be saving our thoughts for Bob Marley next week. But I will say there's 2 things for sure. Number one, the box office is it's exceeding expectations of how many people are watching this movie. So that's good for Bob Marley. I'm so happy that this movie became number 1 and not Madam Web. And 2, for a fact, I can give you for a fact that this movie is better than Madam Web. So
you're reaching for the stars with that one.
I know, right?
Yes,
there's some serious goals there.
If anyone's curious, Bob Marley One Love is better than Madam Web. Just hear my hear first, but it is in fact. David, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry you had to sit through Madam Web,
it's okay.
But we appreciate you coming on.
It was worth coming to talk to you guys.
Okay.
The love is appreciated. Yes, exactly. If you want more from us, you can always follow us on our social media channels. Everywhere you go, you can watch us on YouTube as well as our Facebook. And thank you. I was struggling there. I was like, you just put something graphic. There we go. Now I can. Let me go back. Let me restart. Hold on. If you want more from us, you can follow us on our social media.
I just wanted
channels.
You to struggle a little bit.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Box Office Bingers, our X and Letterboxd page at Box Office Binger, and our Threads and Instagram page at Box Office_Bingers. You can watch our lovely faces and David's face as well, which is also lovely, on YouTube, which we're posting videos each and every week. We have reels and videos on our TikTok and Instagram page. We have all of our movie reviews on our Letterboxd page, all of the breaking news on our Facebook page. We have Movie Showdown Mondays and New to Stream Fridays on our Instagram pages. There's a plethora of things you can go to each individual social media channel. So if you're not doing all that, go follow us. We appreciate it. And if you're already doing that, well, thank you. That's all the show we have for you guys this week. Hopefully we gave you an entertaining show, more entertainment than Madam Web offered for you. And even if you didn't watch the movie, I'm sure we gave you enough to make your own decision, or at least give you a good time instead of watching this movie. Come back next week for more movie fun. You're not going to regret it. Thank you for listening to us. And for that, I've been your host, Matt Diaz.
Ernesto Santos. See ya.